I believe that the standard note of the major scale is the second degree. For example, I believe that the standard note of the C major scale is D, and that the standard note of the D sharp major scale is F. It seems to be that the current musical theory of using the first degree as the reference note of the major scale is a quibble, like a theory of traumatic theory. The reason why I feel this way is that when I look at music theory books and websites, I always find that when they refer to B minor flat fifths, they just explain it in a way that makes me feel unconvinced. If you use the first degree as the standard note for the major scale, you will have unconvinced not only in B minor flat fifths, but also in some other parts. On the other hand, as soon as I used the second degree as the standard, many of my doubts were cleaned up. In this video, I explain why I am trying to build a musical theory that emphasizes the second degree instead of the first degree. From the aspect of the keyboard and the fifth degree circle. I also state that the reference note of the major scale is a second degree, but this does not mean that the second degree has the same role as a tonic, but that the tonic, which is stable, does not qualify as a standard pitch, and the second degree, which is neither stable nor unstable, does. First of all, let's look at the keyboard. The keys are arranged symmetrically around D, not C. This means that the whole tones and the half tone are in the same place. This indicated that the sequence of all whole and half tone is symmetrical along D, B, and F, which make the tritones are also symmetrical. On the other hand, when C is the center, there is no law of the keyboard, and there is no necessity for the positions of B and F. Next, look at the fifth degree area. The non-gray areas are the component note of the C major scale. B and F, which make the tritones, are the both ends, and D is in the center, so major scale is regularly arranged in the fifth degree sphere. C is halfway in the middle, so it is inappropriate to call it the center. The next step is to line up the 12 notes of the scale, one half note at a time, to form a circle. The order is the same as on the keyboard, so naturally the C major scale is symmetrical with D at the center. Again, B and F are and diagonal with D between them in a characteristic arrangement. If we line up the circle of fifths and semitones, B, D, and F are in the most distinctive positions, while C is just one of the continent notes of the major scale. From these facts, we can intuitively understand that the central notes of the major scale is a second degree without using a complicated theory. In addition to my own ideas, I also incorporate axis system. which extend the functional theory of tonic, subdominant, and dominant. In this view, notes related to the short third and divided into three groups by the same function. In a fifth degree circle, the two neighbors are the central force in fifth degrees. If there are three functions of pitch, tonics, subdominant, and dominant, then it is natural to assume that there are 4 of each to make up the 12 tones. In this way, there are two intervals that have the same function, and they exist in a sphere shape. I believe that this is way interval should be. Believe this is the way interval should be because there is no more beautiful arrangement than with B at the center. Next, let's look at the Gregorian mode, which is based on the second degree note D. The D major scale is the same as C-sharp Locrian. The D major scale is the same as that of C-sharp Locrian. Continuing in the same way, we can derive 7 scales with D at the second lead notes. The consistent notes of each mode correspond to the Gregorian mode, but note that the second tone may be unsigned and the first tone may be sharp signed. The key signature of the Gregorian mode based on D is shown in this figure, which is a beautiful point symmetrically with sharp and flat correspond to D. The D Dorian norm, also the Gregorian modes for A and G, C and E, and B and F as the second degree notes are corresponding. In case of C as the center, the regularity is difficult to grasp as is generally known. Based on the above, it is responsible to use the second degree notes D as the reference notes, as well as from the perspective of Gregorian mode. Thank you for your attention. If you like, please write your opinions in the comment box and spread the word.